Hi there, welcome to Kneppy Invest. One of my favorite things to do just before trading begins is to go through all the price sensitive announcements, looking for particular announcements from companies that could either send the share price higher or send the share price lower. And by far, the most powerful sort of announcements I'm looking for are profit upgrades or downgrades, or even just trading updates. And on the 6th of October 2022, Appen did release a trading update, and this has led to a really bad day for shareholders on this day. So, obviously, or not, obviously, this trading update was not positive. Another thing a lot of companies do, particularly fund manager type companies, they do every single month release their funds under management. And it was Magellan Financial Group today. It was their turn to release their funds under management. And unfortunately, again, for shareholders, it was not good news. And we saw a significant drop in funds under management. And for both of these companies, the share price have dropped around about 10%. For Magellan, a little bit less than 10%, and for Appen, a little bit more than 10%. And unfortunately, the share prices of both these companies are in well defined long term downtrends. And based off these two announcements, it doesn't look like these downtrends are gonna end anytime soon. Before we have a look at Appen's announcement, this is their long-term trend. Well, we'll say 18-month trend. So long-term, or the definition of long-term, short-term, medium-term, I think it's quite arbitrary. Some people would probably say 18 months is long-term. Some people might say, well, that's short-term. But this is the 18-month daily chart for Appen, and the share price has been in a downtrend, a very well-defined downtrend, ever since the start of this period, which was back in April of 2021. Share price back then was around $18. Now, before this, the share price was in a downtrend for about a year previous to this, maybe not quite a year. We'll say 8 months or so, because at one point in 2020, the share price of Appen had reached $45. And with this negative sentiment in this company, with the company continually releasing negative news to the market, the share price of Appen has dropped from that high of about $44, $45, something like that, all the way down to $2.94, dropping another 11.7% today on October the 6th. And with this downtrend fairly well set, I don't think there's any sign that this downtrend is coming to a completion anytime soon, which is absolutely fascinating, because at one point in time, a few years ago, this was a market darling. In fact, the market cap of Appen probably reached something like $4 billion at one point in time, maybe even more than $4 billion. And right now, the market cap of Appen probably is less than 400, maybe even 350 million. And with the share price continually dropping, with the market cap continually dropping, if, and there's a big if here, if management can turn things around, this company could be looking attractive. But that if is a massive ask for the management of this company, because they continually release bad news to the market. The, the previous bad news they released to the market was the half year results in August. The share price on that day dropped 27%. And so at this point in time, I can't tell you where the end in sight for the drop in share price for Appen. And probably the only thing you could say is, if you were a shareholder, you've been given plenty of time to get out. Now, I am a shareholder of this company, and I thought the share price under about $10 was pretty good value for this company, particularly how they were performing financially between about 2015 and 2020. This company was growing. They were producing a lot of cash flow. They were profitable, but things can turn around quite quickly. And the question is, and even though Warren Buffett says turnaround stories very seldom turn around, the question right now is, can Appen's management turn things around? And right now, there's no sign that they will or are achieving that goal. And that goal is a very important goal for all shareholders. And I'd say the majority of shareholders right now are in the red with Appen. Now on to this trading update, and why was the market so negative about this particular trading update? Well, the first thing is when you actually do look at this announcement, in the second paragraph, they mentioned that since Appen's half-year result, so in February they released the half-year results, or in August they released the half-year results. In February they released their full-year results, and since Appen's half-year results, there has been no improvement in trading conditions in August and September. And in fact, upon the release of the half-year results, they did say the majority of their revenue will be skewed to the latter half of the second half of financial year 22. So that skew to the latter half of the second half of financial year 22 is looking more in doubt right now. And that's the reason why the market does not like this news. And that's why the market has sold off on Appen today, on October the 6th. Now, when you compare their guidance in this particular trading update, so they have finally given us some revenue guidance and EBITDA guidance for financial year 22. And when we can compare that to financial year 21, we see a significant drop, not only in revenue, but definitely EBITDA. And one of the reasons why EBITDA has dropped significantly is because of a lower quality revenue mix. So lower quality revenue mix means lower margins. And that's why, even though revenue has only dropped by about $70 million, or between about $50, $70 million, it looks like EBITDA is going to drop by at $60 million, falling from $78.9 million in financial year 21 to between $13 and $18 million in financial year 22. So again, there are reasons to really dislike this announcement from Appen, and there's no argument to why the share price of this company dropped 11% on this particular news. And what we should be waiting for, particularly those non-shareholders who think there might be a future for this company, is an announcement, a positive financial announcement from the company. In particular, any sort of announcement that is an upgrade from what they're forecasting right now in regards to revenue or EBITDA. So in, say, 2 or 3 months, and they say, well, we have underestimated the company's performance, and now we're going to raise revenue to 405 million, and EBITDA we now expect to be between 30 and 40 million. Until we see that, there's actually no reason to buy into Appen shares right now, because I don't think there's value here, because the company could continue to underperform, can continue to disappoint the market, and the share price could continue to fall here. So with Appen, I would be waiting for a sign of that the company is turning things around. And one of the first signs could be a shift in sentiment in the share price, the share price moving into an uptrend or something like that. And when we look at the long-term chart for Appen, this is the weekly chart going back to 2015. This has been, it's the sentiment in this company has drastically changed over the past 2 years. Appen was a market darling for a long time. In fact, I was a shareholder of this company. I bought into Appen back in 2017 at a share price just above, I think it was about $2. And then I rode it all the way to the top. The top was about $44 back in 2020. And I sold out of Appen when the share price fell from that $44 to about $28, $30. And then I bought back in when the share price got below $10, because I thought, well, there has to be good value here, because the share price not that long ago was $44. So I thought, yeah, even though the share price is falling, I thought there's good value. So my opinion of Appen has completely changed now, simply because the continual release of bad news from the company and from the management. And I need some sign that this company is turning things around. I would be willing to take a further position or increase my position in this company when I see those signs. But at this point in time, with a well-defined downtrend, no signs that the conditions are improving for this company, I'm not willing to take that extra step with this company just yet. Now on to Magellan Financial Group. And just like Appen, Magellan Financial Group was a market darling for a long period of time. In fact, this was a favorite stock among a lot of retail investors. People I work with were either buying a lot of ETFs and Magellan Financial Group, and they weren't buying individual companies. So this was a favorite company. And you'll be able to see, I'll show you the weekly chart later in the video, and it really mirrors Appen quite a bit, because the share price rode up when it was a market darling up to a high, and then over the last 18 months, up maybe 2 years, the share price of this company has been dropping just like Appen. And in fact, the Magellan Financial Group share price has been in a well-defined downtrend ever since about, we'll say about August or September of last year. So really only been a downtrend for 1 year, but it has dropped a lot in that 1 year, falling from a high of $56 all the way down to just above $10. And there was a nice little support level just below $12. We saw the share price reach $12 back in June and July, and then we saw bounces. So that level was really important. And in the last week, we have seen the Magellan Financial Group share price struggle to remain above that. And I think today, upon the release of their funds under management announcement, with the share price dropping 8.43%, I think that break in that support level has been confirmed today. Because what we saw with this announcement is this company is bleeding funds under management. And I think potentially the market was shocked by how much funds under management dropped. So let's have a look at the announcement that led to the share price of Magellan Financial Group dropping by 8.43% or nearly $1. Now, to be honest with you, I'm not really that interested in fund managers, but the one thing I do know in relation to these type of companies is you do look at the funds under management, and usually they are updated every single month. And Magellan Financial Group's funds under management have been dropping for quite a while, and they have dropped another, $6.6 billion in September, falling from 57.6 billion to 50.9 billion. We saw retail drop from 21.4 billion to 19.8 billion, and institutional dropping from 36.2 billion to $31.1 billion. So this is not good for the company, and this is why the market has sold off a Magellan Financial Group right now on the 6th of October. And just like Appen, share price is in a well-defined downtrend, and there could be much further to drop in the share price from here, particularly if funds under management keep on dropping in October, in November, in December. So I'd probably say the thing I'd be looking for when it comes to Magellan Financial Group is I'll be waiting for funds under management to sort of flatline, not dropping anymore, and then start increasing. And once it starts increasing, I think you can draw a sigh of relief that maybe this company has, or this fund manager is starting to turn things around. But up until then, again, just like Appen, I don't see any reason to buy into this company just yet. And here is Magellan Financial Group's weekly chart. I've extended a little bit further out than what I showed you with Appen. So this goes all the way back to 2012. So the last 10 years, really. And as I mentioned earlier, this was a favorite stock among a lot of retail investors, probably a lot of institutional investors as well. In fact, the share price increased in 2012 from about $2 all the way to a high of $74, which again was reached in 2020, just before the COVID-19 financial panic. You can see that massive drop, and that drop happened just after the share price high from this company. But upon the V-shaped recovery after COVID-19 financial panic in April into May, there was a rapid increase in share price. In fact, the share price of Magellan Financial Group increased from $30 all the way back up to $66. But the share price has been dropping ever since then. And just like Appen, this company continually releases bad news to the market. So we want that continual drip of bad news to come to an end, and then we might become interested in this company. And of course, as I mentioned in the previous slide, the thing I'd be waiting for is signs that the funds under management are not falling anymore. In fact, I'd like to see funds under management starting to increase. That's all I have for this video, looking at Appen and Magellan Financial Group's bad day on October 6, 2022. And in fact, you could call a bad week, a bad month, a bad year, a bad 2 years for both of these companies, with the share prices of Appen and Magellan Financial Group in well-defined downtrends and no end in sight. I would not even say there's any value right now in either of these companies. I would not call Appen or Magellan Financial Group right now at this point in time high quality companies simply because of the continual drip of bad news they've been releasing to the market over the past few years. So I want that to come to an end before I become interested in both of these companies. But I'll keep an eye on how much further share price can fall for both of these companies. And if I do see the share price starting to consolidate, starting to move sideways, I'll start to pay a little bit closer attention to the news release from both of these companies. And if I do see the market starting to become more positive in the outlook for both these companies ahead of any sort of good news from the company, that's another point I might become interested in both of these companies. So if you have any thoughts, any concerns, any questions about either of these companies, I'd love to hear them. So leave it in the comment section of this video. Otherwise, I'm not a financial advisor. If you do need financial advice, make sure you seek out someone who is qualified and can speak to your own financial needs. That's it for this video. Have a good day. Bye.